Hi, I'm Glen Skelton, Wetland Projects Officer at Surrey Wildlife Trust, and I'm here today on the source of the River Wey in Alton to celebrate World Wetlands Day. Now, World Wetlands Day is all about creating awareness of the importance of our wetlands for both people and wildlife. Now, if you're wondering what I'm doing here in Hampshire and not in Surrey, it's because the River Wey actually has its source here in Hampshire and of course runs all the way through Surrey to meet the River Thames. Now, rivers don't keep to boundaries, of course, so everything that we do up here is important, and Surrey Wildlife Trust, being host of the Wey Landscape Partnership, we're working to get all of the River Wey catchment into a good ecological status. Surrey Wildlife Trust have been working on the river up here. You can probably see there's not much going on in this channel here. It's very over wide, artificial, and we've been working a little bit further upstream to bring a bit more of the natural processes back into the river that you would expect to find here. And so we'll go on up there and have a look at what we've been up to. So here is a section that we've been restoring over the past few years. It was an over wide, very silty, dark channel with not much going on. Originally we put these berms in, which are these woody structures that were backfilled with sediment from the stream, and then they've been slowly planted up. There's not a huge amount to see here at this time of year, but come the spring this is really alive with lots of marginal vegetation. Now, I've been working on a project with Alton Town Council over the last few months, and we've been working with local volunteers at the flood meadows to put 20 tonnes of gravel back into the stream. Now, what this gravel does is it creates a home for invertebrates, which of course in turn provides food for fish, and it helps all of that food web get a bit of a kickstart. Now you can see the lovely clear waters of this chalk stream, and it is actually the River Wey's only section of chalk stream, and they're incredibly important because they're so rare. This is the gravels that the volunteers have been putting in, and already you can see how it's beginning to reform the river, create a bit of a meander down here, lovely gravel bar which will begin to grow up in the drier months. It's important that when we're restoring rivers, we don't just think about the river itself, but we think about what's going on around it. A river surrounded by wetlands is a lot more resilient to climate change. The wetlands also create a great refuge for species that live in the river to be able to move over into in harder times. Now, once upon a time, this was actually all watercress beds. It's an ideal place to grow watercress because the chalk springs provide the crystal clear water required. But now it's been turned over to wildlife, and you can see it's an absolute haven. It's got a bit of everything: tall herb vegetation, emergent vegetation, some good aquatic plants in there, including a chalk stream specialist, the water crowfoot. And we've also got these lovely little pockets of willow as well. As well as being a lovely place to walk, wetlands like this also provide a very important service. They can mop up heavy rainfall, helping to store it so it doesn't flood our towns. But they can also drip feed our rivers slowly as they slowly release that water back into the rivers, ensuring that they keep running even during the dry periods. Now, sadly, over the past century we've drained many of our wetland areas, so little pockets like this have become increasingly rare, and that's really at our own cost. The green carpet that you can see behind me is mostly watercress and fool's watercress, and this is obviously much of this left over from the days when it was a watercress bed. Now, areas like this, if they're not managed, will eventually turn to woodlands, so they do need looking after, and there's a very keen group here, the Friends of Flood Meadows, who keep this area open. They do a little bit at a time, so they're not removing too much, and it's groups like this that are really important. So if you ever get the chance to get out and volunteer with your local groups, it's so important to help wetlands stay in the state that they're in. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and happy World Wetlands Day, everybody.